Welcome to Africa Speaks of Today. My name is Stephen Mulindwa, and I do hope, as always, you're having a good time in whatever you're doing. Because remember, time doesn't wait for no man. So whatever you want to do, maybe this is the best time to do it. Even if it's not the best time to do it, just go ahead and do it. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to leave regrets that you didn't do it. Now, what have I got in today's program? A very interesting one, because I haven't covered Uganda for quite some time. Have a very interesting gentleman, and I would like anybody out there viewing us, please be very observant in what he's going to say, because it's, especially for the youth, it's very, very interesting and it's very educative. Now, what's going in Uganda today with the general elections around the corner is the key question we're going to answer in today's program. The country has gone through a lot since its independence from Britain 64 years ago. I mean, that's Uganda. Who can forget Idi Amin and other leaders who have come and gone? But the rest of Africa, the problems have remained. Remember that. Corruption, youth unemployment, mass migration, political divisions, and so many others. The list is endless. The question is, have some of these problems been solved in Uganda? That's where we are going. Have some of these problems? Of course, we can't solve everything, but have some of them been solved? We'll find out. With me in the studio is Dr. Hilary Emma Musoke, a senior presidential advisor to the President of Uganda on agribusiness and value addition, special editions. He will explain what his role is about. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Now, you've had that intro.
Very
First and foremost, I want to start from your position, where you've been, what you've done, and how come you are the presidential advisor in this sort of line. Where have you been to qualifies you to be in that position?
Yes, my dear viewers, I'm so humbled. I thank the management of Omega TV for you giving me an opportunity to come and share what we are doing in Uganda with His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda. However, before I go on to your question, I would want our viewers to first know a simple background of Uganda. Yes, you've given it very well, but all our viewers there, many don't know what Uganda is, what it was. And in history, the moment you don't know where you were or where you came from,
you don't know where you're going.
Then you don't know where you are and you don't know where you're going. When people are judging Uganda or praising Uganda, many of the young generation and the people out there in Europe, in America, like here in London, may not know the genesis of Uganda. You put it right, when the British, our forefathers, colonized us and left us to gain independence, Uganda had to begin its new history. That by that time, they left Uganda, which was very immature. The child Uganda was so young that it did not even, it could not progress politically, economically, and socially. Because socially, we were already divided by region, by ethnicity, tribes, wars, conflicts. So they left us in space. That's why you see that between those years when the British, our forefathers, left us, Uganda went through a turmoil and wars only. We had over 9 presidents until 1986, I think you remember. And you see all the able people, the rich people were killed, and others came to exile in London and other countries. The educated people died, the young people died, because there was all change of power from one president to another. So this independence came with its own challenges, because everyone was not prepared to take the country. And by 1986, when President Museveni came to power, the country had died. The economy was dead, the infrastructure was dead, everything was being imported from our neighboring countries, Kenya, Tanzania, that were economically viable and vibrant. And Uganda literally had 99% of its products, including sugar, milk, bread, everything was coming from neighboring countries. So when I'm going to start to talk about those challenges, where Uganda is and where it is going, it is very important, our dear viewers, that I first give that small background, so that by the time we begin to relate the current situation in Uganda, we can really know that yes, President Museveni, by the time he came to power, our country had a lot of challenges, and so it has been a journey whereby Uganda is always compared to, I always compare Uganda to a pregnant woman. When a woman conceives, and you put a baby into the stomach, this baby will take 9 months.
Okay.
After 9 months, the mother will deliver a very beautiful baby.
Yeah.
The baby begins to crawl.
That's a long process.
Yes, after crawling, that baby will begin to stand a bit, but while staggering.
Of course.
After standing, the baby will walk. After walking, the baby will run. So what this analogy means that Uganda has been going through all those stages. But now Uganda is walking.
It's walking.
It is walking. But some people want to make Uganda run. And the mistake here, Mr. Mulindwa, is that the moment you make a baby who is supposed to walk and make that baby run, you will crush the teeth, the nose, the head, because you will get an accident. So that analogy I wanted us to use in this discussion, so that our members here in the great countries and in the other diaspora can really know the background of Uganda, where President Museveni got it from. So going back to the question, why am I here? And why am I in this position as a senior presidential advisor of President Museveni? Good enough. I'm also one of those who, by the time I think President Museveni came to power, I was in my nursery. And really, I'm so humbled and blessed to be part of the revolution, adding my contribution to my country, Uganda. Yes, many years back, I started working with President Museveni, and you read about it.
Of course.
Officially in 2016. I've been his private secretary in charge of young people, youth and women empowerment programs, to see that the young people in Uganda can be looked at as a formidable force which is empowered to make money, to advance in skills, to see that we promote their innovations. But recently, last year, in September, His Excellency the President I was so privileged to be appointed as one of his senior presidential advisors, core presidential advisors in charge of agribusiness and value addition development. Because in my previous appointment, I was in charge of value addition and export promotion, making sure that the young people engage themselves into activities of entrepreneurship, but basing on cottage industries, adding value on our raw materials. Ladies and gentlemen who are viewing us here, you find that Uganda is one of those endowed countries with almost all raw materials in terms of leather, textile, soft drinks, hair, shoes, furniture, everything, even the minerals. Other countries in Africa are not privileged to have minerals, but Uganda has everything.
I want to interrupt you a little bit here.
Yes.
I know, I always know, you give a politician a microphone.
Yes. By the way, I'm not a politician. I must qualify this.
You're aspiring to be a politician. I have that in mind. You're inspired. You might not be one, but I know that in a couple of years' time, you're going to be one.
Maybe.
Whether you want it or not, I have a feeling you're going to be one.
I'm a social transformer.
You are defending something, and you have all sorts of answers to it, which is quite interesting. I do understand where Uganda has been as a Ugandan, and I also do understand the problems of Africa, because I've covered Africa. I think I've done over 200 interviews, and Nigerians, Ghanaians, and so on, and the structures seems to be the same. And what makes the Ugandan one a unique and different one when it comes to, because now we have one of the biggest problems in Africa is that we have youth unemployment, and the issue like what happened in Kenya, with the demonstration of Jay-Z, can that happen in Uganda? Because there is a huge mass unemployment in Uganda, and in your section, as someone who is helping the youth, how do you see the future of the youth if nothing is? We need heavy investment. I know the country didn't invest long time ago, but now that the president is here, everybody is here, and you people are in charge. What kind of investment is there now?
It is very true, Mr. Mulindwa,
Yeah.
and our viewers, that the challenge of developing countries. You know, what I want to tell our viewers is that Uganda is not different from any other African country,
of course,
or developing countries.
Yeah.
The challenges of Uganda are still the challenges of Kenya, Malawi, Rwanda, because we are all in developing countries.
Yeah.
That means that unemployment is inevitable.
Of course, by all means.
And they are what we call, usually what I tell people, what is called challenges of success. You are very much aware that years back, our education levels were down.
Yeah.
Uganda, you could only get one graduate from university in a sub-county 20-25 years back.
Yeah.
But due to the president's interventions in the education system, because it begins with the education,
Yeah.
if you want a country to go, to develop, you must also intervene into the human resource capacity by educating the young people. Now that there is free education in Uganda, UPE,
Yeah.
there's support at the secondary, even at the university. That means that every year, so many young people are graduating.
Yeah.
So as you're addressing the people, or the problem of education, you are creating another problem of unemployment. And Uganda, being a developing country, remember the industries have been very, very, very minimal. And it is industries that provide employment. That's why you see that the president is emphasizing on foreign direct investment to attract investors that will create more industries so that they can absorb the young people who are educated. But for government jobs are very small.
If I can interrupt you there, the 10-year development plan that governments always have, and I've seen the government having a 10-year development plan.
Yes.
But in most of the 10-year development plans that I've seen, including this one previously, which was read to Parliament, there was a lot, of course, about hospitals, roads, and so on. But it was very little in terms of how much money we are going to give the youth. How much is going to be spent on the youth to create more employment. It's easier said, but in reality, the Parliament didn't pass any of that.
No,
I don't know, maybe I've made a mistake on that.
Yes, I'll share with you. That's where I was going, actually.
Yeah.
Because I've been at the forefront, at the center of implementing, especially, I'll give you a number of programs where I'm physically involved, that are empowering the young people, that there is a budget specifically for the young people. For example, under the Ministry of Youth and Gender, there has been a program of youth funds, specifically put down by Parliament to support different initiatives, enterprises for the young people. There's a program for women, women fund, specifically for those women. And in State House, where I sit, there are so many programs. For example, the president has come up with a presidential initiative on skilling the girl and boy child. And I would be happy to tell you that when I was receiving my award, which we've not talked about in your Parliament, it was one of the
I have to congratulate you.
They were looking at.
I was going to congratulate you on that.
The way I've implemented it under the president's directive to implement the skilling program for the vulnerable poor. So the president has earmarked billions of money on that program, about every year about 60 billions for just skilling the young people, the boys and girls who never went to school, because this program was earmarked for the vulnerable poor from the ghettos, from the slums, that never went to school, that stopped in primary, that finished the secondary and don't have a job, single mothers.
The key question is, the money may be there.
Yes.
And it might be out there. And it's in somebody. The question of Africa as a whole, and including Uganda, is the implementation. And the fact that sometimes there's no follow-up. It's very good to say we are going to give 60 billion to do this and that and that. And then the next year you say, look, can we have a look at what was implemented with the 60 billion that went in? You know, that kind of follow-up, because I remember the World Bank was explaining something like that. The World Bank, it was saying one of Africa's biggest problems, we give them the money, we lend them the money, then we come back 6 years later to find out what the money has done. has the money reached the ground which is gone? Can they give us some kind of a feedback on that? Is there anything there to be shown that something is really happening that can, this is what we have achieved in the last 4 years or 5 years of this amount of money?
Actually, that's where I was going. The problem is that I wish we had enough time, but I will try to explain. The problem with the African World Bank and other people in Europe or in the outside world, what they hear is not what is on ground. Most of the times, maybe those other countries, but not Uganda. Okay. Uganda, we are implementing. The President Museveni is implementing all these initiatives. He's very passionate about young people. He knows the dangers of having uneducated generation or unemployed youth, and he has put deliberate interventions to make sure that young people get employed, as I'm going to explain. But now that you are speaking, you are asking the horse's mouth. I'm one of those who are implementing these programs.
Okay, you are implementing the program.
Yes.
And you have written, say each year, for example, that last year, this is what we achieved. And it's here, you can go here and have a look at the implementation. This is how much, this is how well we spent the money. Because that is where the World Bank was saying that when we go to ask these questions, and we are asking them, say, we gave you 10 million or 15 million for this. Was that project a success? Is the money? Can you show us?
Actually, apart from World Bank, the president now is using his own money, Government of Uganda funds, into these programs. And if they want to see evidence, let anyone come to Uganda. We take them and tour the country on the different initiatives. Like I told you, the one of skilling the young people who had lost hope, who are vulnerable, poor. The president pays their material, feeds them, gives them capital after the 6 months of skilling. Then there are those who are supported through circles. There are those who he gives machines, for example, the young people in artisans, the young men and women in artisans, the carpenters, the welders. The president makes sure that he gives them state-of-the-art machines that can help them manufacture or produce quality products. And all this money comes from State House. The president has initiated programs like yoga for the young people. He has created programs like PDM for the village people. All this, he's trying to put different interventions to curbing poverty and employment, so that we move from the poverty lines and go into the money economy. And that is his gospel. It is not true that everything, yes, there could be some mishaps here and there, like any other country. There could be some hiccups. Maybe some institutions may not utilize the money as per the guidance of World Bank or any other government institution. But that doesn't mean that the government is not deliberate in addressing the faults of the young people. It is President Museveni across the world who has been advocating for youth to be included into leadership, to be supported, to be empowered, to be trained ideologically. But the challenge why you are seeing some of these demonstrations in other countries, it is lack of ideological orientation, ideological education, and also some influences. Yes, all countries don't have jobs. Here in London, I've seen people who are not having jobs. But the way they express their dissatisfaction is not burning the city, is not attacking others. What we want to do, we should appreciate that this country is a developing country which has to go into phases. But as we are taking it into phases, should the money also that is available, the resources must be utilized appropriately.
Coming to resources, that's one of the areas. There is a lot of misuse of resources in Africa. In fact, I was reading and I was thinking, where does this money come from and where does it go? I mean, you're looking at the Ugandan Parliament. If I had my way, I think seriously,
you do
529 members of Parliament. UK has 650 members of Parliament, but they are 3 countries. That's Britain, that is England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. And where, in fact, where there are 4 countries, and Wales,
Yes.
yeah, and Northern Ireland. So you can understand them. Now, 121 MPs, of course more. But when you look at Uganda's MPs, and when you look at the budget of the parliament, just the budget of the parliament alone, yeah, the budget of the parliament alone, I think it goes to nearly almost $1 trillion Uganda shilling.
Yes.
Which comes, I don't know to how many, $100 million. I mean, you're looking at a huge sum of money. That money is enough to build hospitals, to build certain areas. Now, is there a way at least the government could cap that, you know, in a way, into half? So that instead of each MP gets how much? 70 million a month?
Maybe.
Then they get cars, they get, I don't know, housing allowance, they get even dressing allowance. I mean, there is a lot of that resource which we really look at, you know. And said,
in a common...
Is there a way this thing can be said, look, first deal with the parliament, and then we can start looking at other, cutting down to other resources. Can this happen?
You know, as Dr. Hilary here, I will give my opinion, but these are constitutional issues.
You
know, as I told you, there were what we call challenges of success.
Now,
Uganda had years back had no democracy. Now, as we promote democracy, spearheaded by our colonial masters or the outside world, America, Great Britain here, trying to tell African countries to be democratic. Along, they also came with what we call decentralization. And decentralization, they were saying, put the powers to the grassroots. People should go back, leadership should be divided and decentralized. Now, the same policies also aided by the constitution, because this the MPs, it is constitutional that for us we want our own leaders based maybe on tribe, maybe on geographical location, so that they are all represented. So that is now a matter of the constitution and parliament, which I may not be in position to change. But you are right. But as long as the people decided who made the constitution, because every country has its own constitution.
Of course.
And also, when you compare Uganda and other African countries, you look at the United States. You've said UK, United Kingdom. They are still united. They were never split.
No.
But for us in Africa, we were split. US is still United States of for us, if we were United States of Africa, we would have been in position to have few representation, but these people are united. They are strong, solid, but we are still beginning to go and be split and split and split and split. In such a phenomenon, the democracies and the policies may not be the same. And a comparative analysis of Britain and Uganda or United States, which is one as a continent, may not apply.
Okay, it might not apply, but the fact remains, it's the misallocation of resources, which is the major issue in Uganda and in other African countries. It's not that we don't have the resources. We have the resources. In fact, Nigeria and Equatorial Guinea, they probably bring out more oil than Qatar and Kuwait, you know. But the thing is that when you look at the development of how they've used their resources to enrich themselves, and the way Nigeria is failing, and the way Equatorial Guinea is failing, it all comes down to human error and human resource, failure of human resource. It's a similar thing that's how I'm looking at it from that angle. That if you're going to cap down on generation wealth that the president is trying to build, then you have to start from somewhere. And the biggest place where to start from, because if a son sees the father doing something, he will also want to do the same thing. Now, Parliament is like a father to entire Uganda. If we see them doing what they're doing, and having all this money being spent, even on clothing, why should we buy parliamentarians their clothing? Why should we pay for their food when they earn this 70 million a month or even more?
Maybe.
That's why I'm saying that misallocation of resource has to be one of the first things to look at before we even start thinking of other developing somewhere else. I know, because I'm talking from a Western point of view, but at the same time, these people also reasoned like that 200 years ago. And they started looking at the allocation of their resources.
Actually, very good. That even answers my, as I said, these are constitutional issues and policy issues, but according to my opinion, actually we are not 200 years behind. We are about 500 years behind. People should appreciate that Africa, one, it was attacked by slave trade, wars, what, I won't go back into that.
It's quite a lot.
But we are 800 years behind. Now, what does it mean? Maybe you talk about corruption. Maybe instead of, because what we call misallocation, maybe they have reasons why they allocated those resources. But the virus in Africa has been corruption.
Of
misuse of government resources by certain institutions. But what I assure Ugandans and our people here in the United Kingdom, like President Museveni has tried to fight corruption. He has put up institutions that are fighting corruption, anti-corruption unit under State House, Inspector General of Government. There are so many Auditor General or CID offices to curb corruption, and he's arresting so many people, including us who are working in his own home. Many have been put in jail. That is the issue which you have to fight. And you have seen technology here, why corruption is minimal. Maybe it is there, I'm not sure, but it is minimal because you people are employing technology. Technology, now you can see when you come to Uganda, our driving permits used to have lines. Now it is technology aiding it. Passports, technology. Visa, technology. When you go into tendering, the tendering process was very, very rotten with bribes and corruption. It is online. Some job applications are online. He has tried to make sure that the interface between human and human is minimized. So as technology grows in Africa, things will change. But this is a journey which we must move. But also to assure you why you see resources are not enough. The resources are not yet enough. That's why we are a poor country.
They're there. The resources are enough.
Unless we go back and industrialize Africa based on our raw materials. That's why I'm in charge of agribusiness and value addition development. If we are the ones growing cocoa, we keep cows. We are growing cocoa, but the factories are in Europe. For us, we bring the seeds. Leather, our cows from Mbarara, from Buteso, from Karamoja, the leather goes to Italy and we import the shoes. Coffee, we grow coffee. Last year, we were one of the biggest producers of coffee. It goes to Italy, it comes here, where you have coffee barista, coffee roasters, then it comes back in Nescafe and other forms. When you compare the kilo of coffee, this cost where we are selling to Europe, for example, a kilo, say I'm giving an example, if it is about 4,000, when I'm importing back the coffee to drink, it will be over 400,000. Now that is where we are donating money to other countries, and the President Museveni has been very vocal about this, that you people, we are donating money to other countries that are already developed in form of raw materials. That's why my appeal even in the summit, during my presentation, I told people what Africa needs is not aid. Africa needs industries, technology, irrigation, fertilizers, and human skills, the expertise to manufacture. Because we have the raw materials in terms of minerals. Uganda, you have gold, we have lithium, we have cobalt, we have nickel, we have copper, we have tin, we have all the minerals. And yet other countries are not blessed to be endowed by those.
But then that comes back to a similar way, since that the human resource is there, obviously.
But the expertise, technical expertise.
Okay, technical expert might not be there. But if you stand your ground, the way Burkina Faso president has, he says, no, if you want gold, you have to come here. You have to come here and pay the money here. You're not taking our gold anymore. If you want this is, come here.
By the way, President Museveni started that 10 years back. There is a law, you no longer take any mineral unprocessed. It has been put in law. That's why we are seeing we have gotten gold refineries. He has gotten investors to process our tin. He has revamped the Kirembe mines, Kasese, cobalt, lithium, and copper mines in Kasese. You must process, because this the hemorrhage of our resources into other countries. Yes, you can give us aid, but if we can process and add value at source at our homes, and you buy products, and then these other countries, these beautiful countries with big economies, if they can open up their markets for those products by minimizing on the standards of entry into the market, by minimizing on the barriers of entry into the market, I'm telling you, World Bank and the IMF and these developed countries will not be donating money to Africa, especially Uganda.
Okay, I want us to come to the elections around the corner. And of course, the president is standing again. And obviously, there's a new generation. In fact, your generation, the generation that were born when Museveni came to power.
Yes.
There's a Chagulanyi issue now.
Yes, my OB and my classmate.
The Chagulanyi issue, which has enlightened the entire youth and to come in, obviously. But one of the biggest problems we see here in the diaspora is that there's too much infighting, not just within even within the national resistance movement. Recently, to get cards to sit to be members of parliament.
I saw.
There were so many videos showing people fighting
I know.
within the party itself. You know, I should say, Basic Gay's case and all the others. It's like there is a political turmoil within the country. Now, we are going into this election and everybody's worried. He's thinking, well, if NRM has the similar thing, NUP has the same thing, and the other parties have all got the same. What has got into us? Is it money? What is it?
Now, I always give my own opinions.
Yeah, it is.
As a lecturer, I will tell you that is where we went wrong.
Yeah.
I gave you the genesis of Uganda for our viewers to know that when the European countries and the superpowers look at democracy, democracy is generalized, but we should have democracy for different continents and countries. Uganda came into democracy when other countries have already moved. For example, USA and UK maybe 500 years back, they had moved. I saw in Parliament yesterday, I saw Parliament of 300 years back.
Yeah, of course.
As you enter, I said, "Wow, 300 years back, and the Parliament was built. That means 1,000 years back, UK had democracy, because democracy is made in Parliament. Now, Uganda was put into democracy, implementing democracy and human rights, which is okay, but the democracy we have, the communities and the public were not ready for this democracy. Why? We believe that to be democratic, for you, maybe when you demonstrate, you're practicing democracy, or your rights. Uganda, most of the developed countries had to first reach a certain stage and also start implementing what you can implement here in Europe. However, it doesn't mean that we should people should be oppressed. But the question you were asking about the younger generation. Of course, there is excitement. Now, the young generation never saw wars. They don't know that the country at one time had people running away. The qualified doctors coming to Britain, the nurses, the teachers, the rich people all going out of the country. Now, a country that has lost all those people. For you now of your age, you know the challenges that were in Uganda. But now, me even, I've never seen guns. Okay, I read and see other countries. Israel you can see, Sudan you can see, Egypt you can see, Libya you have seen what has happened. Now, for them, they are ready to be manipulated, because most of the time, the politicians are the ones who manipulate the young people to demonstrate and ban the country. And after, for them, they will fly out of the country and go, and then the young people will remain there.
No, but you see, that thing can happen. I mean, I've sat in here and I've debated the Jazi in Kenya, and I've observed what the whole point, and I've even spoken to several of the people in Kenya, and what they were saying, of what they were seeing. In fact, one Kenyan guy even gave an example. He said, we don't want to be like Uganda, where we say, you are telling us that they were supposed to do this road 20 years ago. You were supposed to do this 10 years ago. They were supposed, and these things are not there. In hospitals and all that, they are looking at their future The young people are looking, I mean, people like you, you know, I'm not young. They're looking at their future. And they're saying, look, if we waste our future, if we don't do something about it, you know, especially the words of Martin Luther King, the American civil rights leader. Because when he says, look, if you don't do anything now, if you don't know anything about it, in 20 years' time, you're going to sit here and say, why didn't I do something about it last time? So they are looking at their futures being wasted. And regardless, what you're saying is quite good. But the problem is Pan-Africanism has not been taught in schools. They have not been taught in schools.
Actually, you have answered. I was going to tell you, Mr. Mulindwa and our viewers, most of the young people, because of social media, because of modernization, because of technology, there's a gap between orientation, like ideological orientation, and knowing of issues, critical analysis of issues, what happened. When you don't know what happened in the past, then you will not know where you are and will not know where you're going. Why did I give you a small snapshot of the past? Now, these young people are saying, let us not, like the Kenyans, when you invite them and they talk for Uganda, for us who are there in Uganda, we know that there is a change. The roads are being made, the hospitals are being fixed, the education, we know where it was before you left, you know how many schools we had. You know how many roads were not linking border to border. We know how many bridges were not there. You know that we didn't have electricity. Even people didn't have TVs in their homes. So, but because the world is on social media, everyone here believes on what is seen in social media. But I've seen that today they can undress me. Then they tell you that doctor here in UK was naked. And then the man was very smart in my suit. So let us always not believe in what happens on social media. Let everyone who wants truth go on the ground.
Yeah, but there is the
what
truth
the young
about
people
it.
must do,
There's
Mr.
the truth
Mulindwa.
about it. Because if somebody, one thing about social media as well, is that somebody captures a picture of a person. He captures a picture of the roads which have got holes in them. He captures the hospitals which have got there, but there's no medicine. All these things are captured nowadays on social media. So that if he's telling you that these things are not happening, then you can't say that
do you know
social media is undressing.
I'm giving you the answer. Our viewers, as I gave you the roadmap for Uganda, yes, it is true there are some sour areas in the service delivery. But remember, the priorities of a country, there were so many by the time President Museveni came to power. As I told you, President Museveni inherited a dead economy. Uganda had been buried 100 meters down when other countries were shining. That's why I told you, paraffin, candles, sugar, milk, everything, shoes was coming from Kenya. They have a border, they are exporting to Uganda. So the economy was at zero. So the problems of Uganda, one, the infrastructure, the roads had to be worked on, electricity had to be worked on, education, and the budget was small. Now it is a phased way of prioritizing developments. The challenge is that the young people want to compare countries that were 50 years ahead. We are 50 years behind Kenya, by the way. We were 50 years. But now you can see the speed at which we are moving. So people want to compare what they see here in UK, in Germany, in Rwanda, in Kenya, in South Africa. Yes, it is a journey. We are going to reach there. And all these challenges, they are there. Where you go and find, even myself, I reach and say, this hospital, this school. But I know there are other good ones that are being worked on. Maybe as a way of prioritizing development, we shall reach there. But the problem is giving a general picture. One picks one hospital, one picks one health center, one picks one school. Then he says, for example, you go into a school like me when I was young. Yes, I could be in a school where I'm not putting on shoes because of my background. I was a poor child. Then someone says that the whole school in Apia was wise, don't have shoes. You know, me here as a poor child, not putting on schools, then you generalize and say the entire school is students go barefooted. That would be wrong. And that such analysis misleads. The challenge we have is we have leaders in our country who, instead of being leaders, they have become misleaders. They mislead the young people, they mislead the public, and they end up misleading the world. But if we could critically analyze and critique, yes, this is bad, this is good, let us build a country together. But the challenge why you are seeing opposition, most of the people why you say they are fighting to come into power, one, others come to look for jobs. They think standing you are looking for a job. I'm not sure in your age, people came to parliament, those old people who have served well, and they have nothing to lose, they have seen it all. They come and sit in parliament and say, yes, now I can be a member of parliament. But now people are competing. You said people are fighting in parties. Why do you think they are fighting? Because you've said of the big pay. Now people are looking at that as a die or must. I must go through. Two, the democracy is not yet developed. Now this is the process of developing democracy.
Can't you put a cap on the age of that? We had the age limit issue, and then it went away. Now we have
who should stand?
Yeah.
Do you know what annoys me?
Because now we have.
Do you know what annoys me? Do you know that even you just need the senior 6 certificate to stand as an MP?
Of course,
But there are so many things that I'm telling you we need to change. And a senior 6 MP,
but
for
there is
example,
also an 86-year-old, the former prime minister, who I've really seen being led into a car. But he still wants to stand. That's what I'm saying.
That's the democracy you brought. I told you, introducing democracy in African countries when they are not yet ready there. And also the nature of democracy you brought is not the same democracy here. And they can never match.
Of course they can.
So what does it mean? We need to go back and do a right diagnosis of the problem. When we see that, yes, Africa needs democracy, but how can we combine democracy and development? How can democracy be exercised when it is not impeding on development or the social ethics of society? Now you see, because people want their rights and democracy, they abuse leaders. Anything can be.
Okay, I understand.
There's a lot of impunity in the younger generation.
There is a lot of that. But then at the same time, when you look at it, acceptance that some of these things are happening, also from maybe.
They're happening. Yes.
Acceptance.
And they need to be worked on.
Like
I told you, corruption is a virus.
It is.
Sometimes. Rights, people's rights in many African governments step on people's rights.
Of course.
So that's why I told you we must do a right diagnosis as a team, even if you're in opposition, even if you're in government, and we accept, yes, there is a problem, we have a sickness here. How can we treat it? Me, you'll never see me, because I'm not a politician, you never see me blowing, hey, this is good. No. What I
listen,
I tell you.
When you tell me you're not a politician, I find that very hard.
Why?
No, seriously. I find it very
because hard. I work with a politician.
You work under
with a politician.
You have worked with the top politicians, the Sejussas and so on. And there's no way you can put.
But Sejussa was a general.
I know. But what I'm saying is, he was a general, and all the Kaikuras and so on. The thing is, there's no way. The political influences has to be there.
Do you know why? When I'm implementing the president's assignments, I don't segregate. Like I'm telling you, skilling the young people, looking at the ghetto young people, whom are, the president has a presidential initiative on ghetto youth empowerment. Those slum dwellers. We don't segregate that. This is the NRM. This is Sijui what. We are looking. The moment the president swears in Kororo, we are entitled to look after every Ugandan. So now the politician is the NRM. Those ones will be political. But me, when I'm serving as a senior lecturer, as an implementer of the president's manifesto, I make sure that even if you are no people, come, I will serve you.
Agriculture initiatives.
Yes.
Agriculture initiative. The food problems in Africa and so on. They used to exist, and they are still existing.
Yes.
And you being in the agro industry as it is, what have you achieved in terms of making sure that the food initiative in Uganda is at its level best, or the youth are going into that?
Now, we have had so many challenges. You know, Africa is very blessed with its climate, with its soil, with its people, and you are very much aware that the biggest percentage of Uganda 64%,
Yeah.
In agriculture. It
Of
is
course,
the country's largest employer of the young people and the old people. But unfortunately, you find that the mindset had died. You are very much aware. I don't know which village you come from.
Busunju.
Busunju. When you go to Busunju, it is 80, 70 years who are there.
Yeah.
All the young people have run to town.
Yeah.
And you find vast land empty, fertile with rain. Viewers, Uganda is one of those countries that has the most fertile soils, evergreen, rain throughout the year. And actually, for a secret, and one country like India and Uganda, they are the only two countries that can have even 3 seasons in a year of harvest.
Yeah.
We can have 3 seasons without irrigation.
Yeah.
Supposing we irrigated and also change the mindset. Why the president sent me to this office of agribusiness and value addition development is to make sure that I sensitize and make a formidable force, a movement of young people to go back to the gardens, to make agriculture as a business, to know that you can plant your tomatoes, you can plant your apples, your watermelons, your ginger, your carrots, your onions, and make money. You can have and own a farm of coffee. You can own a farm of cocoa. You can have your cows and make money to improve your household income. These jobs, when we are talking about jobs, we look at white collar, go and look for a job.
Yeah.
But agriculture can employ millions of young people and women by self-employing themselves. So we're trying to change the mindset.
Yeah, okay. The mindset can be changed from education, from schools.
Yes.
This is something which has not been implemented for years, because then you should start from the schools. Go to the schools, open up agriculture schools.
Yes.
Open up, so if you're just going to change the mindset when somebody's already in the
Should I share with you something?
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Someone who I'm at the center of implementing the president's skilling program.
Okay.
But it is funny. Bukalasa is there, Karakabanyora there, those institutions, agriculture in universities is there.
Did they put money in those institutions?
Wait. They are there, but you find that even the people who come out may not even like to go into the gardens. We've seen graduates of agriculture who are not farmers. So this is different.
Yeah.
The way I want you to perceive this.
Okay.
Graduating agriculturists is not enough, because we have so many degrees of agricultural experts, but they don't have farms, they don't own animals, they don't own horticulture, they don't have any cottage of wine, but they are experts. So what we are trying to look at, young people are all coming into taxis, into borders, but selling land in the villages that they have inherited. So the president is trying to say, guys, can we go back to the villages and be more productive than all coming to look for jobs? I've seen it. People who are skilled, just skilling someone. For example, the president has the 4-acre model program, where people are advised to keep cows, poultry, aquaculture, the fish, do some fruit, do some coffee. These people earn money.
Is there a way of coming back to the unions? Because the unions used to encourage a lot of people. The trade unions.
Yes.
Bagisu, cooperative. I mean, these unions
actually
used to help a lot. But then when the president came, he got rid of all the unions.
Actually, he didn't get rid of them.
Yeah, what happened to them?
What warranted the unions, because the country had collapsed, they had collapsed. People had siphoned the money. And remember, government used somehow to fund them. Remember, this is a country that had gone through war for almost 10 years. So everything had collapsed. That is what I always want people to first understand. That when there is war, you not go to school, you not have hospitals, you not have those unions. So it is not the president who collapsed them. He found them collapsed. That's why even some institutions were privatized, because government institutions were privatized under the directive of IMF and World Bank, that you privatize because they are not profit making. There was a lot of corruption. The cost of reinvesting into these things was so high. But now you've seen the president is the #1 champion advocating for SACCOs, for cooperatives. And when you go to other upcountry areas like Western, Eastern, those people who are serious, they have regained now the art of cooperatives, and such cooperatives are really making impact. And it is us now in these positions to go and tell these farmers, can you cooperate? Can you consolidate? Remember very well that there's a lot of problem in land fragmentation in Uganda. Under land fragmentation system, you may fail even to get enough supply from micro to macro production in the gardens.
Okay.
Remember, the population by then was 3 to 5 million. Now we are looking at a population between 46 to 50 million.
Yeah, 50 million. Yeah.
That is big population. And the land does not increase. The same population, when President Museveni came to power, around 14 million, the same land we were sharing.
Yeah.
We are going to 50 million people, and we are still using the same land. So even those cooperatives, one of the aids was land availability at large scale. Yeah. Because for you to cooperate, you must have chunk of land. Now what does it mean? How do we build the capacity, improve production when you have this small plots of land? That's why you see the president bringing different programs, parish development model, the Myoga, to cooperate these farmers and other enterprises into groups. And there, government can easily support them. So yes, a country that went through war and turmoil, many systems collapse. Now government is building those systems back.
But this was over when? 20, 25 years ago? 30 years ago?
Of course.
Yeah. But it's taking too long. This is where most of the people would say, if it's gone through that for the last 30 years, and the government is in power for the last, it's coming to 40 years.
There was a policy change which I wanted to look at. Privatization.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
There's a liberalization of the economy. Privatization and liberalization of the economy. Two, I told you to do a diagnosis of priorities. Now that many things are now coming up that before were not looked at as a priority. Now that we've fixed most of the loads, there is electricity, even we have now excess supplied to other countries. Now the list of priorities is reducing. So by maybe 5-10 years, I assure you, you are going to say different Uganda. Because even now, when you go to Uganda, I'm sure you can't believe some areas. You get shocked. The housing, estate, the roads, the technology, the schools. Many of my people here in UK were telling that you people, the speed at which you people are running in Uganda, I can't believe. And many want to go back. I'm happy. Many of them want to go back and invest. Because the investment portfolio is big and they can make profits.
Okay, I'm looking at that because this is where again the problem has been in terms of the diaspora investing in Uganda. When you come on these seminars, most of what you're looking at is foreign investors to come and invest in Uganda. You know, now rather than doing that and looking at your own investors, your own Ugandan investors or Kenyan investors, because recently I attended the seminar here in London as well, and it was something to do with the Kenya. And a lady minister actually said, look, we didn't really come here to look for foreign investors. We came here. In fact, Tanzania was involved as well in this project. And they were saying, look, we want African investors. We want African investors.
Yes.
And the man in Burkina Faso has said the same thing. I don't want foreign investors, but I want African investors. You can now enter Burkina Faso. If you have an African passport and you want to invest in Burkina Faso, you just walk in and you have your money, whatever you want to invest, you can invest. So the Kenyan and I think Tanzania were looking at, I said, look, let's look more at how we can have our own people investing in their own country. You begin from home so that you have people who have got money to invest in the country first. And then you have those in the diaspora like us to come in and invest. But this message was not even reached at the Uganda Convention.
Actually, as I told you, Kenya is somewhere. Other countries are somewhere in terms of investment. But in Uganda, we are still interesting those foreign direct investments. Why? The factors are still very small. You are very much aware about our population growth of the young people in the world. It is second. Now, that growth of population, we need to have as many factors as possible. Yes, it would be good to say, I double to be the liaison office and the diaspora office of the president, headed by Mr. Bagonza Muhammad. And what we are doing, telling our diaspora people, please come home and invest. We are trying to show them the different investment opportunities. But even our Ugandans, there are so many Ugandans who have made invested in factories in the country. What I'll do, I'll take Omega TV to Uganda and we visit those factories. I tell you, this is for Ugandan, this is for Ugandan, this is for Ugandan. And my appeal to all our people in the United Kingdom, there are so many opportunities. Government has put in place different incentives, even including you, a Ugandan. The only difference that Chinese, Indians, and other foreigners are so aggressive.
I was going to say, no, because
and under a economy,
you give them more opportunity than you give
no, it's not right.
This is where the problem
is. The policy has changed. The policy has changed. Even if you're Uganda, as long as you have a threshold, you reach the threshold of investment, they'll give you the same opportunities. Before, years back, it was not like that. But now even a Ugandan, it's time to be an investor. And I'm telling you, Mr. Mulindwa, me, I want you, when you come, I'll take you, you'll see how many Ugandans are investing in their country. All our diaspora in the UK, you've saved enough money, you have enough technology, you have enough expertise. That's what I told you at the summit. Please make sure that you come and we show you. The president is putting their diaspora bonds for you by December. Is giving you every incentive as long as you come and say, I want to start up a factory, I want to go into real estate, I want to go into commercial agriculture. There are so many incentives that government is giving, which I cannot elaborate here and finish because of the 1 hour I have. But I assure you, every Ugandan is welcome to come and invest in Uganda.
Mr. Doctor, we are running out of time. And all I wanted to find out now is when we look back at the biggest achievement of President Museveni, what will that be, the post-Museveni achievement, his biggest achievement? He's still a president anyway, but his biggest achievement so far. And if anything, what, when you look back, has been has failed? You are trying this, you are trying. It's like, as you said, we tried the private investment, we tried this. What is the achievement and what is the failure?
Dear viewers and my moderator, Ugandans and everyone in Europe, the biggest achievement of President Museveni and Uganda is one, peace and stability of the country from where the time where it was. Two, uniting Ugandans who had been divided. Three, bringing back the glory of Uganda, because it was called a dark country, full of death, murders, rotten, where people are going to exile. Now people are coming back from exile to the country. And having peace for our neighbors. You see, the East African region was full of wars, but at least President Museveni has stabilized it. We are proud also of receiving our neighbors who are now at war as refugees. We can ably look after them. That's hospitality of the people. And I assure you, Uganda is transforming the factories, the education system, the health system, amidst those few challenges. But then the problem of that maybe is still a problem. I'll also be open. It is corruption. Some, as President Museveni is fighting to see that he curbs corruption, many of our people, your brothers, your children, who are technical officers in government offices, have remained corrupt. Why? Because of ideological disorientation. They are not ethical. And it is not President Museveni who is fostering or promoting corruption, but the people who apply for those jobs and control the budgets get corrupt. But he's dedicated to fighting corruption. This term, the president said he's going to fight corruption and promote value addition. Dear Ugandans, as President Museveni comes to power 2026, I assure you, corruption is going to be a war. And my appeal to you, give us all the techniques, the systems,
and give us advice. And you want the votes as well. You want the votes.
The votes, of course, they should vote for him.
That's the whole point.
And you see that we change our country.
And you're telling me you are not a politician.
I haven't thanked for my award.
Thank the British government for the award. I hope the producer gives us more time.
Yes, give me more time to thank the British government. Dear Ugandans, on behalf of you, the president, I thank the British government and the Parliament under the House of Commons. A very colorful event that was given to me and my team, and I was awarded a global award by the World Book of Record.
World Book
of Record in the United Kingdom Parliament, under the House of Commons. We were given a nice dinner.
Okay.
Thank you for being recognizing my transformation energies and initiatives in the country, but also thank President Museveni for giving me that empowerment to make sure that I can be recognized. I'm very happy, excited, and I thank you. I'll continue to change the lives of the youth, young people, and the vulnerable poor. I thank you.
And you're saying you're not a politician?
Yes, because my position is I work with a politician.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because of what the expressions and even the word given to you was given to you
as someone who is transforming communities.
Yeah,
they have been following my work. They have been following all the initiatives I'm coordinating and my advocacy in the diaspora to promote Uganda. So I'm not saying that give me votes, but I will continue to serve with President Museveni and change the lives of the vulnerable poor.
And also you to stand as a Dr. Hilary Emma Musoke for
elective politics. No.
Office.
Not now.
The next prime minister or something like that.
Maybe 10 years to come, but not now. I'm not a good at politician. I don't want to go and be part of some misleaders. I can create change where I am. Already I've created. That's why you gave me an award.
Okay.
A very, very prestigious award.
I know.
World Book of Records. Whoever dreamed me, I came from the ghettos there. Who knew that I would get it? And sitting in the United Kingdom Parliament, I'm going to go back to Uganda as a celebrity, and I'll be celebrated. So I can't thank UK government enough. And I thank Omega TV and the moderator, Mr. Mulindwa, for you identifying me. I know if you had enough of time, we would have talked, and I want to educate our people about Uganda. There's a lot.
Maybe the next time we'll talk about it. The Pan-Africans, that the failures, which of course things which are not really are not really happening and are supposed to happen. And you being an educator, as a teacher, you are very well aware of some of the things that teachers, schools like what is this school called? Tiankwanzi, for example.
Ideology.
Getting the ideology and people's Pan-Africanism. That is not existing. And that is what the Chinese did, by the way. When I was reading about the Chinese Communist Party and the way the structure of the I hope my producer gives me a bit of more time. The Chinese and how they to get a Chinese brain, to get something out of a Chinese to say that something is wrong in China. You can't get that out of a Chinese, and because the structure is all the way from the training that they get as
do you know why? The solution is one, uniting as East Africa, uniting as Africa, and also knowing that you should love your country, irrespective of your support for government or not. A Chinese will not do that, but you see a Ugandan posting bad things on social media. So let us go back and love our countries.
But that comes
and
with
love
that's
our
what
families.
I was saying, the Pan-Africanism, without proper training, without having implemented this in education, in education as a teacher, you know this. You implement this in schools. When it's implemented in schools, then it's embodied, and as we go along, people learn it. They will be fighting for that country.
I'm going to go and
they'll be doing that. The Chinese do
and
that.
Advocate
and
for that.
Japanese do that. South Koreans do that. You can never find any thing wrong with that. They even fight to defend what is going on in their country, the South Koreans and Japanese, because I've talked to most of them and I've had a couple of interviews with them, and I realized that with them, the schools implement these issues so much to say a Japanese will never tell you that there's something wrong in Japan, regardless of which political parties.
You know what happens in Rome remains in Rome.
I think I just want to
Can I say bye to?
You can. You have a second.
Yes, dear Ugandans and our people in Europe and the United Kingdom, come to Uganda. Uganda is on the move. Uganda is developing. Uganda's tourism is good. Uganda's agriculture is good. Government is good. There is peace, security in the country. Please come and invest in Uganda. Ugandans love your country. And come back home.
I just want to thank you very much for viewing us, and I do hope that we have another very interesting encounter of Africa Speaks, just like this one next week. Thank you for viewing us, and may God bless you. And thank you also for coming and telling us all about it.
Thank you.